Yeah, bitty 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 buck. He was like a rapper. He was the first rapper. Like bitty 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 buck, bitty bitty buck, bitty 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 buck, bitty bitty buck, bitty 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 buck. Boom.
Welcome to another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. It's July 6th. We have completed this year's Independence Day, regardless of all the people out there who are bitching and moaning about the fact that the Independence Day, it's like, that's why it's good to celebrate Independence Day, so you have the independence to whine and bitch and moan about things. So regardless of how you feel things are and you don't want to, that gives you that opportunity. Anyway.
Am I watching Fox News right now? What is this? The War on Christmas? The War on Independence Day?
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what was the about Independence Day that I didn't get. Was there
America?
There's numerous people like on social media who are talking about how that they're not going to celebrate the 4th of July because of the recent Supreme Court rulings about like the EPA and Roe versus Wade and that type of thing.
So I've had friends for years who were against it because we massacred the Indians and had slavery.
All that, I mean,
people. It's not a new thing,
right? But it's gotten a little more vocal this year.
You're right. Yes, the abortion.
Of course, I'm right, Greg.
I always chalked up the Indian thing to Columbus Day and Thanksgiving. Those to me seem the most rapey Indian sort of holidays.
That's true.
4th of July was more of fuck the establishment a little bit. Good story of a bunch of smuggler fucks that decided to say no to the biggest empire in the world. I mean, it's a different story.
Yeah,
it is. But people lose sight of that because it's all present day. Like, why is it good to celebrate America right now? So anyway, regardless,
hot dogs.
Yes,
chili dogs,
chili beer.
I gotta say, Matt makes the best 4th of July spread. We had chili dogs.
Ooh.
We had hamburgers with like horseradish sauce. He had every fixing you could want.
Horseradish sauce, holy moly!
I know, fancy.
That is fancy.
But the people who are watching this did not get that opportunity. So we should tell them what our client for today is small talk and small minds.
Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
We're having a rerun of a fake sponsor, mainly because I just didn't have time to deal with one today, and nobody else did
I'm
either.
against it.
Many of us feel loved and have many friends. Life is generally sociable, but sometimes those friends and loved ones disappear. This leaves us with feelings of isolation, abandonment, rejection, and outcast. Here at the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, we know how that can be. Sometimes Brendan disappears and leaves you all hanging, wondering, where is he this week? Where can he be? Does he not care about me anymore? Will the show survive? Well, today, not only are you abandoned by Brendan, but Greg has also chosen to find better things to do than fill your life with his positivity, free spirit, and alcoholism. Yes, today you're stuck with Matt as your only host. In times like these, some of you may turn to alcohol or drugs to make it through the week because Greg and Brendan have deserted you in your hour of need. If this happens to you, though, order replacement host. Just add homemade whiskey. In only 15 minutes, replacement host will take over for your missing friends, and it'll be like there never was a problem. Replacement host, only available in North Dakota. Also known as Sanchez El Dorado. So thank you very much, Sanchez El Dorado.
You are most certainly welcome. I'm happy to do it.
There you go. Replacement host.
That was a little passive-aggressive, though.
Never. I never do anything this passive-aggressive, Greg. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're just aggressive.
Yeah, that was the day when you guys were gone, and I'm like, all right, I got to come up with something. So I thought I would give some kudos to Sanchez El Dorado because of that.
Yeah, I was on an airplane at the time.
Yes, you were on your way to one of the biggest arguments of your life. Is where you were.
No, I was leaving many of them and then going to more. It was just a placid haven from the many arguments before preceding it and after it.
Okay. Well, it was on the way to many discussions.
I don't know where I was. I think I was holed up in a hotel room with an underage girl and saltine crackers. I don't know what was happening.
What?
Saltine crackers.
What?
And you were trying to make her whistle after eating some saltine crackers. Whistle!
Whistle, damn it! I told you to whistle.
We were dedicated to doing a 72-hour every single TikTok trend just all in a row. I don't know what got us there, but that's where we ended up.
It was all of the Tourette's videos on TikTok you were watching, probably.
Yeah.
Ah, damn you! I hate you! It's exactly.
None of them do like fun Tourette's though. Like, I mean, I rarely see them where they're like, fuck off, or, you know, it's like they just make these cute little whoop, beep, whoop, whoop, you know, and I'm like, oh, come on.
I like the ones where they do the cooking videos while they have the Tourette's. Those are the ones that are quite entertaining.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen those? Find those. Those are entertaining.
Is that a form of Tourette's? You just make cute noises like R2-D2?
Well, that's part of it depends upon how bad the Tourette's happens to be. You know, some have it much worse than others, but a lot of times it has a lot of jerking motions. So what makes it entertaining is they do these cooking videos, say with like a bowl of flour or something. And they'll take it and somebody's like throw it in the face of the person next to them, or they'll throw an egg on the floor that they're about to crack into a bowl, and they just get so upset. But the funny thing is, they're doing this for entertainment purposes,
right?
Because they want other people to recognize like what they're going through, like how challenging it is having this particular disease.
So I'm the monster. You're actively talking about laughing at people that are disabled, and I'm the monster from Florida.
But they're doing it for people to laugh at, is my point.
You think so?
Strippers are doing it. Yeah, pornographers and strippers are doing it because people pay them.
But what if the pornographers and the strippers also had Tourette's, though, Brendan?
I would watch that.
That would be hot.
You would watch that too.
100%. That one.
And they were trying to cook at the same time.
There's a pretty hot Tourette's girl on YouTube. I forget what her name is. She's one of the bigger ones. I've seen her. She's come across. Anyway, sure. Definitely watch it. 100%.
I say it's interesting that I'm not a TikTok guy, but I get videos sent to me by friends who love TikTok. And I know, and then after the video plays, it'll show me like the really hot, oh, this one has 500,000 views. This has 1 million views. And it doesn't matter what they're talking about. It's basically a really hot girl. So it could be a hot girl talking about social justice, a hot girl talking about her kitten. It's basically people are on TikTok, I think, just looking for, ooh, that girl is hot. I'm going to click on that.
Those are called thirst traps, Greg.
First traps?
Thirst, TH.
Why?
That's in other words, because people are thirsty for women or men, you know, and so they're called a trap and designed to get your attention and to put more views on that channel. I don't understand
it because there's full-on porn on the internet for free. So if that's what if you just want to be like, ooh, I want to see some.
Well, the difference is these are real people that you could actually communicate with.
Oh, I guess.
Oh, man hasn't been to the same sort of places on the internet that I've been.
Yeah,
to. You can communicate to these people.
Yeah, but
just as well as you can communicate to someone not doing pornography.
Well, I guess if there's like porn social media, I don't know about that. So
OnlyFans.
And
is that social media? OnlyFans?
I don't know. Is YouTube social media? OnlyFans
YouTube is social media, yeah.
I mean, OnlyFans is kind of like
because YouTube has the whole interactive thing with other people. You can write comments and that type of thing.
I think OnlyFans does that. They give money, but they can also talk to the person and say, "Hey."
Okay. Well, I guess it's the same as a webcam. But anyway,
it's like Twitch, but you know, with nasty bits. You know.
So then my reasoning doesn't work for Greg's question.
Yeah, the TikTok girls.
I don't even remember what we were talking about. I got lost in the whole world of whatever we were talking about.
Beep bloop.
Your mind. Beep beep boop.
That
is like taken over my house somehow. That particular commercial from last week.
I'm sure.
Anyway, we have a client to talk about. So the client is small talk and small minds. And what we're essentially talking about here is people who try to engage you in conversation. that is useless information, like just talking about the weather, or you're forced into a circumstance where you meet somebody at like a party or something, and you have to find something to talk about. It winds up being something inane and useless. And I don't know how you guys get through that, but I generally just wind up not talking to people at parties and things. I'll go somewhere else, like in the room where I don't have to have those conversations, because I'll answer people's questions. They ask me how I'm doing. I'll tell them how I'm doing.
Oh, nobody likes that. Nobody wants you to be like, oh yeah, my angina's acting up and my sciatica. They're just like, no, I just said a facile, how you doing? I really don't want to know. It's just something to say when you see someone.
Yeah.
How you doing?
That's my point. So
But
small
really
talk is the sign of small minds, I think.
I don't know, but I think it's just a polite thing, like a courtesy, like saying hi to someone. Why do you say hi when you see someone? Who cares if they say hi or not? But it's courtesy. It's just like, oh, I acknowledge you're there, and someone's trying to engage you, and hopefully it becomes big talk. You know, you could start with, hey,
big talk.
Hey, what weather we've been having some weather, huh? And then maybe it'll lead to a good conversation about the Rams.
Why does it have to be about the weather?
Because it's just an easy, what's the word? It's easy in. Like, hey, look at the rain. It's been raining, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
what about that economy?
Small
Can't
talk.
do that.
I mean, I think Greg is right. Small talk has a lot to do with, kind of, social interaction. We're social creatures for the most part.
It's an icebreaker.
Yeah, and you start with something like the weather, and it could turn into something more meaningful than that, or it could not. I think for me, I'm just one who can partake in small talk quickly. Like I can make that determination within, a few seconds of talking to somebody whether I want to continue this conversation or it's not worth it.
Yeah.
What's usually the indication for you of whether or not you want to go forward in that conversation?
Well, I mean, it's a variety of things, but I think there's just a general, I'm not interested in what they have to say. Or I say, how's the weather? And they say, well, it's hotter than I thought it was going to be, but not as, it's Florida. The weather will change. If they give me some bullshit like that, I'm like, oh, no. But if I go up and go, how's the weather? And they're like, do you really want to know? Now I'm interested. Okay. No, I do really want to know. Well, let me, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that moves beyond small talk, though, in that case. So they're not actually engaging in the small talk.
And that's why small talk can lead to big talk. When somebody asks me,
which can lead to TikTok.
When somebody asks me, like, oh, what do you think about this weather? I just say, what the fuck am I, Willard Scott?
Is that what you wait? And then they go, who's Willard Scott?
Oh, is he like gone? I thought he was still doing weather.
I thought he died like years ago. Did he die?
What am I, Al Roker?
Yeah, there you go. It's something about Al Roker's name. It reminds me, it has like a sound to it of like a candy or a dessert or something.
Oh, yeah, there's that candy.
It's Almond Roker.
Almond Roker.
I just figured it out. I did it. I figured it out. Woo, Almond Roker. That's the guy.
Al Roker.
Are those little like chocolate ball things?
It's not quite a ball. It's more like a chocolate rectangle, but like a chocolate cylinder with little pieces of almond around it, and like toffee in the middle.
I know he's talking about those balls. Those balls are exquisite. They're the best things ever.
Greg has said that many times, not having to do with chocolate.
Like Matt's balls.
Right. That's right. I've got big balls.
Salty chocolate balls.
The biggest ones of them all.
Salty non-chocolate balls.
But what was the what's the candy you're talking about, Brendan?
I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
but
they're delicious. So good.
Yeah, you get them all of them. They're pretty common. They're like
they're fancy though.
You're talking about like was it Ferrero with the bigger ones that have like Rice Krispie type things inside the chocolate?
I think so. I'm not a big candy person, but there's those, and then there's the triangle ones. What are those called?
Toblerone.
Toblerones.
Oh, Toblerone's not as good as those. Toblerones, fuck that. I went to the when I
Greg is
visited
such a
rel-
snob about so many
when I
things.
visited my relatives in Italy. I went to the town where the Toblerone factory was. We
Yeah.
drove by it like every day for a few days.
And did they pronounce it correctly there?
They say Toblerone. Hey, you like some Toblerone?
So that's
Did everybody talk like that in the town?
Yeah, it's very racist the way they did that. They only did it to the tourists, though. Yeah, the tourists would leave. They would just go back to going, "Can you believe that fucking guy? I can't."
No, but one of my cousins, Daniela, who was a lawyer. Daniela, her ex, was like the bigwig. He was like a CEO at Toblerone. I don't know if he was like part of the family that started it, but he was a bigwig there, and then he divorced her. So she was raising her kids on her own when he visited her. But apparently she could have been the heir to the Toblerone fortune.
If she's a bigwig, she would be the heir of the Toblerone fortune.
Hair?
Big wig.
Big wig hair.
Good one.
Yes,
You know,
aren't they always?
Yeah, I think her husband was the heir. Like he was the, scion of Toblerone, but then he divorced her.
But he would still be it. That wouldn't change it, though.
No, for her, she didn't get to taste the.
She went to taste the
the
sweetness, the chocolate of
the
chocolate
leadership.
Is there even chocolate in Toblerone? I thought it was that like almondy thing.
No, it's a chocolate.
It's a whole thing
Oh
of
yeah,
chocolate.
yeah. Sorry. Okay, I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, it's a shittier candy that she was the heiress to before she divorced.
It wasn't Toblerone.
It's not Toblerone. It's like hard almond paste.
It's
Like marzipan?
Laffy Taffy.
No, it's not marzipan.
She was the Laffy Taffy princess.
Oh, I wish I could remember. But I remember living in Chicago. That remember Lemonheads, that shit candy that nobody ever liked. Those little lemon bullets. They were like.
I think many people like them. Otherwise, they would have gone out of business much sooner.
No, nobody eats them. But there's still the fact in
according to Greg, no one eats them because he is the arbiter of this.
Lemonhead? Do you know anyone who's been like, "Hey, I just bought some Lemonheads. They're delicious." It's one of those old candies that just.
Do you not see Brendan's hand going up every time you mouth off like that?
Lemonheads, Brendan? You buy Lemonheads.
And he likes them.
I used to buy Lemonheads all the time when I was a kid. One, because they were super tart, probably the tartest thing out there.
Next to Greg.
Yeah, and they were cheap. But see, I'm a Skittles guy. I'm a Starburst guy. I'm not a chocolate toffee. I'm not that guy. So
I'm a chocolate guy.
Yeah, and I can tell.
Caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Is it caramel or is it caramel?
You're right. What is it? Is there a proper one, or is it like tomato?
Some people have fights over the pronunciation of that word for whatever reason. Caramel or caramel. Yeah.
It's caramel. I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry about that, Brendan?
Well, I'm sorry to be the caramel guy because caramel is the less interesting of the two versions.
Yeah, caramel has a like
caramel. But it sounds pretentious. Like fuck you. Come on.
It sounds like a beautiful Italian dance style.
See, I think of caramel. I think of the town in California that Clint Eastwood used to be the mayor of, Carmel. But
that's Carmel.
Yeah,
right.
Carmel.
Right, but I'm just saying that's what I think when I hear caramel. So I think caramel is how I pronounce it because it has those extra letters in the middle of it, which make sense that it's caramel.
Didn't Sonny Bono have a coup and took over from Clint Eastwood?
No, Sonny Bono was a U.S. representative. He wasn't a mayor.
But I thought before that he had a coup. He organized.
He was like the mayor, I think, of Palm Springs or something.
Springs.
Yeah, farther south.
Congress. Yes.
Yeah.
Not even close.
And then he became the senator for a tree.
Then he said, what? "Hello, tree."
Exactly.
Oh, I get it now.
Greg's like the lag in my.
That's how he died, right?
Internet.
He died, right? Hitting that tree.
He was skiing.
He was skiing and he hit a tree.
You know, Sonny Bono though has a lot to answer for, even though he's dead. But he was like one of the main proponents as a senator of that shit law that was like extended the copyright. They call it the Disney law because Disney basically paid for this law, where they were worried that Mickey Mouse was going to be out of copyright because the copyright laws at the time were like 40 years. And he totally pushed the law that basically made copyright extended like 45 years. So now Mickey Mouse is in the public domain until 2045.
I don't know why that's a bad thing.
Because public domain is a great concept where, like, we've got these things that are icons. Artists should be allowed to play with them. Like, that's why they made it. It was just like, okay, you had a whole lifetime of wealth from your creation. You're dead, whoever created it. And now people can use this idea. People can write new Sherlock Holmes novels now.
Why don't they just create their own stuff? Why do they have to tag on other people's things?
But that's become part of our culture. So it's like, it's our cultural legacy, all these things that have been created. And after you've profited your whole life from this shit, you're dead. Let other people play with it, you know.
I think they can play with it, but I don't know if they necessarily get to profit off of it.
Why not?
If you're going to play with it, you really need to be careful of how you're playing with it, who's around, who you show it to.
True.
If you're making money playing with it, that's really the key, because the people that made it, they don't want you to make money playing with it, you see. So it's really all about money.
Fuck them. It's huge corporations who are just like, we want to keep profiting from this. It's just like, you guys had 100 years of profits from this shit. Now put it out to the world, see how people play with this idea. They can make it better. You know, like, some things have gotten in the public domain and people have done wonderful things with these public domains, these Frankenstein, Dracula. I mean,
I don't know. I think I would have been okay if they hadn't touched those things.
Yeah, because
I could have been okay with keeping them the way that they were.
Because Bram Stoker's original was just perfect. Like, Underworld, any vampire thing.
There's speaking of the vampire thing, there's far too much prevalence of skin-tight black leather in vampire things. Let's just say that's something that could have been done without. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah, that wasn't in the original book at all.
Was that a problem?
Greg.
It was great.
It was silly. It was silly, Greg.
It was fun as fuck.
Silly. Very, very silly. It doesn't make any sense.
Werewolves?
It makes no sense.
Heavy metal werewolves, so fun.
I'm just saying, I don't really have a big problem with it. Apparently you do, but I don't really have a problem with it. I don't care if they do.
Yeah, so you want corporations to just keep making laws for America. Great.
No, now you're kind of going off on a whole different tangent.
Disney wrote the fucking law. Disney was like, we wrote the law. They basically was like pure lobbying, like graft. It was like Disney wanted this to happen, so it happened.
Yeah,
99% of Americans didn't want that law to happen.
Disney,
they were like, we don't.
Where do you get your statistics from, Greg?
Okay, how many people in America you thought was an injustice that, like, oh my God?
I think everybody who bought Lemonheads candies would disagree with you, Greg.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about Lemonheads anymore, but Disney,
that's not the public domain.
Disney is a major corporation. I mean, there was so much. I laughed because there was so much hue and cry about here in Florida about the state of Florida going, you know what, Disney, fuck you in this stupid like law that you have that gives you exemptions that allows you to be your own fucking city, and everyone lost their mind, fucking fascists, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This corporation created a law, dude. Forget copyright. They created a law. They created their own town, their own police force, their own everything, their own taxing authority. They got everything they wanted, and this thing has just been. It was there just initially to them to develop, but they kept rolling it over and rolling it over, and then DeSantis in a big D move was like, you know what? Fuck you, and I was like, good. If something good can come out of this douchebag, that's one thing. I'm all for it. And
I was kind of cool. I was kind of cool about that too. But he is a big fucking douchebag. But that was funny. Flipping off the mouse was like, all right, go for it, man.
But it is a practical thing, though. Like, Florida would be nothing without Walt Disney World.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Well, I mean, come on. They could be like Mississippi.
Oh, come on. We have beaches.
Nice.
We've got Miami.
You've got Florida Man. You've got mosquitoes. You've got
palmetto bugs.
I'm not saying it's a great place to live. I'm just saying Disney didn't make this state what it is.
But how much money have they pumped in the state, though, I'm saying? Over
beyond
70
Orlando?
years?
Not that much.
Yeah. Oh, beyond Orlando, yeah. But
yeah, I mean, no one in Miami is raking in that Disney money. No one in, in Jacksonville is going, thank God for the mouse.
Well, this client has just been totally decimated.
Yeah.
Oh, this is small talk. This is way
Yes,
small talk.
this is not small talk.
This is an
Well,
example.
I have a question. I have a small talk question. So, is small talk always something safe? Like, could politics be small talk? Could
No.
no?
I mean, I do because I don't.
It
give
can
a
be
shit.
small talk if you're
Oh,
of the
shit.
same political persuasion
So if
as
you
the
knew-
person you're saying the things politically to.
Right. So
Like,
have to
aren't you
kind of-
happy? Aren't you happy with that recent court decision? They go, yeah, and it's nice. It's nice weather out here too. You know.
Okay.
And
So it's just
Also-
really,
And I like ice cream.
it's really the depth of the conversation is what makes small
Yeah,
talk
I
small
think
talk.
so.
It's
I think so.
shallow. It's raining. Oh,
but I
yep.
do that. I do that as a person who doesn't know any better. My small talk is like just talking about some weird thing I read today, and I'll be at the bar, where I work, before work, and I'm just like, "Hey, do you know about blah blah blah? This weird movie that's coming out?" The person might just be like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Stop talking to me." Sometimes the person will be like, "Oh fuck, I love that director."
Yeah, but that's a specific attempt to engage, so that's not
Yeah.
quite small talk, Greg. That's like
true,
you're
but-
asking a question because you want them to have that conversation with you. You're
That's
trying to steal their
But
time
it's
away
still
from them.
small talk. It's still just like I just want to, because that's what small talk is. You want to engage. You're hoping it gets to something.
I don't
deeper.
know that small talk is designed for engagement. I think that's probably the key part to small talk.
Maybe my whole life I just did small talk because I hoped it got to something more interesting. And many times at bars it does, because people are drunk, and you just start talking about whatever, the weather, and then somebody mentions this. Oh yeah, it reminds you of that song. And I'm like, oh, I fucking love that band. Whatever
So-
alchemy happens.
Right. So small talk, Matt, is the idea is that it's just noises you make with your face hole to basically give the appearance
That you care about a
that
human.
you give a shit because you're supposed to. And if you just walk through the crowd without saying anything to anybody that you possibly knew, you'd be a psychopath. And that's what small talk is for.
Well, I don't know. I mean, small talk I think is designed to maintain manners is what I think is the basic.
I think it
aspect
is. It's
of
a
it,
manners thing. It's like it's not you don't care about it, but it's like I've worked with people where they don't say good morning to me. I don't want anyone to say good morning to me. I don't give a shit. That's nonsense. It might as well be Tourette's.
Then
Good
you should
morning.
tell them, I don't want you to say good morning to me.
No,
when
I
they
want
say
them
it.
to. When
You
I
just
work
said you
with
don't
someone-
want them to say good morning to you.
No, I say I don't necessarily want it, but when they don't
Yeah,
do
you
it,
just said it again.
I say I don't necessarily need it, but when
Okay,
they
now you're
don't
saying
do
need it. That's different
I'm like,
than wanting
wow, you don't give a shit about me. You're basically or just like fuck this guy. I'm not even gonna say good morning to him. Like if you
That's
see
one of those-
someone
No,
and
dude,
don't
that's
say
one of those-
hello, it's just
Right.
weird.
That's one of those rough things when you have an office and you work in
Yeah.
an office with people. I'm really glad to be rid of that whole bullshit because God forbid you say hello to this one guy a couple of times in a row because he happened to be in the kitchen with you. Now suddenly you're obligated. Like you're like, oh, there's the guy. Fuck, if I don't say hi to him. I said hi to him yesterday. He's that guy that lives alone with a cat. So I probably should say hi to him. And you're like, oh, hey, man. And he's like, hey. And then there's that time you don't, and you can see, and you're like, oh man, I didn't say hi to the guy. Now you have a chore that you have to do. I hate that.
See, I kind of take things out of small talk with people because I find it more entertaining to do that. So I think in that circumstance where you'd have the guy that you're starting to feel obligated to, I might just grunt at them for the hell of it to change things up as opposed to just saying hello. Or I would make up some other new statement or some weird phrase just for my own particular entertainment.
Like 23 Skidoo.
Yeah, I think it's more like I look at other people as my entertainment, and if I don't feel like being entertained, then I won't necessarily engage. I think that's probably.
I get it. I think part of it is just that that fine line of you don't want to be a psycho asshole kind of out manners,
Yeah.
But at the same time, you really don't want to engage with these people. You know that one lady that works in the office who's always sick and fucking miserable. You don't want to go, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, because she'll tell you how's it going. She'll tell you.
I know, but see, the thing is that I will engage with somebody like that, and I'll do it deliberately.
And then when she starts giving you her litany of
because then I start going off on some interesting questions that I'll be asking about those things.
I'm just saying
that sounds like you, man.
I get it. That's entertaining. But imagine you're now working in that same office with that same girl for 5 years.
Oh yeah.
And you're trying to work, and she's like, "Oh, Matt listens to my problems. Hey, Matt, my cat had a mange." And you're trying to work, and you're like, "Okay, Sarah, whatever. Leave me alone.
Bring the cat over to my place tomorrow night. I'll fucking handle that cat."
For a second, I thought he was going to do something else with the cat. So, by the way, Sanchez Eldorado is once again paying attention to us on YouTube, and he says, "I'm famous." And then he goes, "Best conversation starter. So, ever kills anyone?" And then he says, "We'll take Disney." I guess they're in North Dakota is what he's talking about. But I don't know if "so ever kill anyone" is the best conversation starter.
That's like performance art. That's like
that's like trying too hard, you know?
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to say something like that, it's like you're trying to be funny, you know? Sorry, Sanchez.
That's so bad.
Take that back to North Dakota. Take it back to North Dakota.
That's so bad, though. I'd rather have somebody say that to me at the bar. They're like, "Oh, nice weather we're having."
I don't want to hear either of those, honestly.
I
want to be left alone at bars for the most part. It's like I just don't really want anybody.
So why do you go to bars? I mean, other than that.
Well, Greg, why do I go to bars? I specifically go for karaoke. That's
you
why
never
I
go. Yeah.
I don't really go and hang out at bars. It's just not a thing that I do. I think mainly because there's people who hang out at bars that I don't really want to talk to. You know.
Yeah.
I don't go to drown my sorrows. Even when I was like single, I didn't really do that. I didn't go to bars and go, "Oh, I've got a drink to whatever." You know, I just find other ways to entertain myself.
The best way to drown your sorrows with alcohol is to do it by yourself in your house, where no one can see you sobbing and vomiting and retching.
Well, see, that was my other issue is that I don't drink usually at home. When I was single, I had like a bottle of tequila for like years that I never finished, and it was just every so often because I had this because alcoholism kind of runs in my family. And so I realized that for me, the smartest thing is to not drink alone at home, like ever. Like that would be the simplest way to keep alcoholism from being involved in my life. And it just became a habit at a certain point where I just didn't do it. I'll drink when I go out. I'll drink socially with people, and I'll be with people generally who I want to be having drinks with. But for the most part, I just wouldn't go out for a bar because I don't really know what I would because of the whole small talk thing. And it's like I go there and talk to a bartender, go there and talk to some other guys at the bar. I'm like, I don't know if I want to talk to these people. So.
Now I've had some pretty interesting conversations specifically at bars because I think that's a totally different. I don't know, weird. The people that are there, it's a different situation. I was thinking of the most interesting small talk opening line I ever had someone give to me, say to me, and I was like, wow, that's an interesting one. I was in Las Vegas. It was probably 2:00 in the morning, and I was at the bar, and I just ordered a cocktail. This guy next to me was very flashy dressed, looked like he might have been European, like he stepped out of a disco. He had this young woman on his arm who may or may not have been paid to be there. I don't know. She left. He turns to me, asked me for a light. I smoked. I lit a cigarette, and he said, "If you had a large steamer trunk full of stuff right now, what would you do? How would you get rid of it?"
That's not small talk.
No, but it was like an opening.
That's the beginning of a novel.
Yeah, it was like an opening of a small talky kind of thing. Like he's like,
no, it's the beginning of a felony. Greg is
right. The guy just was like, "Hey, did you see that guy with the hockey thing and the stick?" And I can't believe it. You're like, "Yeah, that guy fucking." And I just looked at him and went, trunk of what? And he goes, ah, what are you having? And I'm like, ah.
And that's why the girl got off of his arm and walked away.
I have no idea. She did come back later, and then I left.
I hope that girl didn't end up in the steamer trunk.
Yeah,
later.
no kidding. Hard to say. But that does bring us to the perfect time to move into our cooking segment. We have a new Waspy Soda Pop episode this week. So let's get that started.
At Safe Mart, it's a Safe Mart. Come to Safe Mart and be safe.
Safe Mart is a proud sponsor of Waspy Soda Pop, and food is for eating. Today's special, kiwi livers, only $500 an ounce. Come get some at Safe Mart. Be safe.
Food is for eating. Food is for eating. Food is for eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
Hey there, everybody. This is Waspy Soda Pop, back again with Food is for Eating and a brand new recipe I think you're going to love because it's coming up to the summer and things are getting really hot. So this will help cool you down. These are authentic Arctic snow cones. First, you want to get 1 envelope of Kool-Aid, unsweetened drink mix, any flavor you want. You could get passion fruit, you could get cherry, you could get blueberry, you could get whatever those other weird color flavors are, because they don't have an actual flavor, it's just a color flavor. So it's, if you know what your flavor color is, you can have that color flavor. Anyway, then you get 1 cup of sugar, a half a cup of cold water, 2 quarts, that's 8 cups of finely crushed ice that you can get from any local glacier, then 3 ounces of freshly harvested Santa Claus beer dandruff, and that can be found at your local Arctic product stores. All right, now let me give you your instructions. So first, you want to place the drink mix and the sugar in a small plastic or glass bowl, add the cold water, stir until the drink mix and the sugar are dissolved. Basically, just follow the instructions on your Kool-Aid packet. You should have figured that out already. Then, you want to place a half a cup of ice in 16 serving containers of your choice. They could be anything. They could be the skull of your enemy. Just depends on if you got 16 of those or not. Then you want to sprinkle 1 pinch of the Santa Claus beer dandruff over each serving. Finally, you pour 1 tablespoon of the drink mixture over 1/2 cup of ice for each of those servings. And there it is. You have authentic Arctic snow cones that nobody else will have, and it'll be the best thing you've ever tried. This is Waspy Soda Pop with Food is for Eating, and I want to thank the boys at the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker for keeping this show going. Bye, everybody. It's Arctic snow cones.
So why the Santa dandruff? Why was that necessary?
What's that?
The Santa dandruff.
Well, I don't know. I guess it would be like an extra flavor if you have Santa's dandruff. Plus, it's very exotic as well.
I thought the exotic thing was the actual Arctic ice, where you'd have to travel to the Arctic to get nice bird.
Well, no, that you can get from a local glacier, really.
Yeah, local. Like we
don't
have
have
in
many of those
Portland.
down here.
I know
Like
there's
in
a lot of
Florida.
glaciers in Death Valley as well. So
So
you
you
get
added
your
2
Arctic
exotic-
supplies store, I think, is where you can get
You
it.
added 2 exotic ingredients. Usually it's just 1. That's why I was confused.
It's not me. It's Waspy Soda Pop. It's his idea.
And that's what I
It's great.
said. That's what I said.
Yeah. It didn't have anything
I'm
to
just, I'm just pleased as punch that we can support Waspy, and he gave us a little shout out. I know he's got him and Miss Waspy and all the little wasps,
all
He's
the,
got all those
all the
relatives
larvae.
across the world.
all
They send
larvae
me
those
money back home to, like in Transylvania.
stuffed in a cocoon
Ireland.
somewhere.
Well, we can't just let that go. We have to move on to our next segment, though. So here we go.
He has an opinion, may not always be right. He's a real fake lawyer. He's old and he's white. Ask him a question, 'cause he's a good egg. For bogus advice, ask Greg. Ask Greg? Ask Greg!
And of course, for those of you who are new to the Law Offices Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, this is our legal segment where Greg, who is not a lawyer, will answer your legal questions. And Brendan is usually the one who has them up on his computer, ready to go, and Greg will provide expert, fake legal advice.
This is paralegal.
It's not paralegal.
Alt legal. Alt legal.
Alt legal.
I think it's more accurate.
Okay, this is a little bit of an interesting one. Dear Greg, I'm involved in somewhat of a business dispute relative to the meta universe, in that I have conquered a great deal more land than Bronkar the Indomitable, and yet he has sold more NFTs during the last 6 months, which gives him a higher social status score relative to the community. What recourse do I have, knowing full well he stole the NFTs from me in a cyberpunk bullshit move, whatever that means? Sincerely, Steve-O.
Could you repeat that question?
Wait, what's the name of the guy? Cyril the Indomitable?
He said Steve-O.
Steve-O.
Steve-O is the person
The
writing
nemesis.
him.
The plaintiff.
Mr. Indomitable. We'll just call him Mr. Indomitable.
Yeah. Well, I think that the best way you could beat him is just kiss a girl, kiss someone, get laid, and then all of this will seem irrelevant. And then whatever Steve-O does, you really won't give a shit if he has more NFTs than you, or if your wandering imp was murdered by Steve-O, or your 18 charisma orc was killed by Steve-O. You won't care anymore. So just get laid, go out, go to a bar, get drunk, pick up a woman, have sex, and then it'll all be relevant. You won't give a shit about what Steve-O did to you.
Sure. Any like decent opening lines that I might suggest to our friend here?
I'm sorry, any what?
An opening line, like an icebreaker, a small talk that he might bring to the table to entice this young lady. What would be a good one?
Like, you've got 18-point charisma, baby.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's so sad.
That's
well, this guy sounds sad. I don't know if he's got anything else in his quiver, his love quiver.
I don't know.
I don't know if he has any more arrows in that little quiver than, or
I give you 12 points for using quiver today, though, Greg.
I'm gonna say this. Use this line. I see you have a nice quiver. I'd like to put my bolt in it.
There you go.
You seem NFT to me.
Baby, you're like an NFT, priceless today, fucking Vomit City tomorrow when I sober up.
Hey, in the metaverse,
I've got a non-fungible token for you.
Yeah, all over your face.
I want to fund you, baby. I'm going to fund you all night long.
All right. Anyway, I've sent the email. We'll see how this guy does. Thank you for your help.
Yes, well, thank you, Greg, for that.
Yeah, this wasn't really a legal question. This was just like, I mean, the metaverse is outside of the American legal system.
There will be laws and contractual stuff that will definitely.
Yeah. But for now, I think this guy just needs to get laid.
Oh, well, that's obvious. That's getting to the heart.
Or just kiss a girl, make out with a girl. I'm sure that would work. Just make out with a girl.
By the way, we do have a comment on TikTok which says, "Hi there, I just left you an envelope on the door for me to call." I don't know what that means, but I guess they're going to call an envelope. I believe that there's a phone in the envelope, so that I think is...
Should I check my door to see if there's an envelope?
Yeah, I don't know if they're talking to me or they're talking to you guys.
There's a lot of people running around downstairs at my house.
Someone named Waffles. By the way, we do have 515 likes so far on TikTok today.
Is that good or bad?
Well, last time we had like 3.
Oh,
so I think it just
it
varies.
More than 3 for sure.
That's right. It varies from time to time. Actually, I think last time we didn't have any, but we had like 86 views. This time we're having more views.
Apparently, people like the weather.
I don't know.
We should just talk about the weather every week.
Now, people should know that Greg wanted us to do something called a round robin, so we're going to kind of dovetail out of the small talk to a round robin, which is, from Greg's perspective, what a round robin is, where someone will begin with a sentence to a story, and then Brendan and myself will then add new things
not
to
a
the story.
sentence.
Well, tell us the rules, Greg.
Just give a little.
And just give us, tell me how this is going to work. How are you envisioning this, Greg?
No, round robin is, you give it like, I don't know, a few sentences.
Okay, well, tell us the rules. What are the rules, Greg?
Just make a little add to the story.
Okay.
Make a little add to the story, like an advertisement to the story.
You can't really add much. I mean, if I just say a sentence, like, I can't really convey
All right,
much.
so tell us exactly what we're doing here.
Let's say like a minute or two. Give everyone a minute or two, and then you continue the story.
A minute or two? We don't have time for what? A minute? That's a long time.
Okay, but one sentence, it'll just be gobbledygook. It'll be like,
okay.
All right, here we go. Let's do it.
All right, Greg, start it. Let's see how this goes. Greg, you start, and then Brendan will go. Then I'll go after Brendan.
What's the genre?
I'm gonna do.
Does it matter?
So we don't have to follow facts.
Science fiction. Okay.
So we don't have to follow facts.
We don't have to follow anything, Greg. This is all made up. Who cares?
I know, but if it's historical fiction,
we have no rules. There are no rules here.
I'm just saying it'll be easier for us to not.
Every genre, every word, every language.
Science fiction.
This will be a romantic mystery, science fiction, fantasy.
Romantic mystery. Okay. Good.
Romantic
Horror.
Mystery, science fiction, fantasy, horror,
millionaire,
technical
vampire.
jargon,
I've been to this improv class. Let's do this.
technical manual.
Okay, the year is 2050.
I'm already falling asleep. Move it
Billionaire
along.
vampires have taken over the government.
Wait a minute. That's that other chick's story.
Yeah, he's stealing from
I'm
Melissa
stealing.
Search's thing.
I am.
Billionaire vampires are taking over the
But
government.
they've taken over the government. She never did that.
He's doing this because of the whole Bram Stoker issue from before. He's
Yeah.
showing the point
I'm
of why
showing
copyrights shouldn't be.
the potency of myth and why everyone deserves
All right.
to.
I'm thinking this is a mistake, is what this is.
So the billionaire vampires have taken.
Yes, they've taken over the country. A small cadre of non-vampires who are also poor have started a revolutionary army to fight this tyrannical overlord that has taken over America. And the leader, whose name is Sanchez. This helps.
Yes, I figure if we're going to be talking about vampires, we should be in a...
Sanchez Alvarado has gathered his cadre of small rebellion to figure out how can we stop this menace.
Now, Sanchez did say that it works to start a conversation or a fight. You can follow it up with I haven't. He wants to eat a kiwi liver. But anyway, just to get that off of YouTube into this. So, okay, continue, Greg. Is there more?
No, I just left it off for someone. Oh, by the way, no, let me add.
We just hit 1.2 thousand likes on TikTok.
The first person at the cadre meeting says, "What about kiwi livers? Could that help?" And then somebody take it from there.
Okay, go ahead, Brendan. It's all you.
What was his name?
Sanchez Alvarado.
Chancho.
I wanted a mask.
Chancho Alvarado.
We should add that the person who's like commenting on TikTok,
like
his name is Waffles. So use Waffles' name. Maybe he'll come
We'll get
over
him
to
later.
YouTube
But
and watch this.
Chancho
So
Alvarado.
Chancho Waffles, who's the new guy now, was stirring the pot of gruel that they were trying to exist on, living in the vampire hellscape. And Chancho says, "Oh no, senor,
These are Mexican billionaire vampires."
No, these are the poor people.
Oh, okay.
These are the cadre of people that are being led, and Chancho is
99%.
Chancho's like second in charge. So he's stirring the pot, making the gruel, and he says, "No, senor, we have to take it. We have to take the fight to them, and that means that we have to capture Princess Gorolina and take her to the moon base 47, where they hide all of the Arctic monkeys that they've had cryogenically frozen to perform a concert there next year. We need to get on this, at which point Sanchez Alvarado says, hell yeah, grabs his Holocaust whiskey, stands up, picks up his 6-shooter, and walks out the door. Over to Matt.
I'm so confused.
Okay, you got Sanchez Alvarado, leader of the rebellion against the billionaire vampires.
Oh, okay. And then
Right.
everybody died.
No!
Shut up. I will just.
Said you weren't
I'll
gonna be
leave
that
this
guy.
meeting right now. I will leave this meeting right now.
Oh God, I've got to use like my mind for something creative. Okay, so there's this character and there's this other character. All right, and then there's the moon and there's like a 6-shooter.
Yes.
And then on the
Well-
dark side of the moon,
Mhm.
where no one could see it stirring, a giant black force started growing bigger and bigger. And it turns
You mean
out
black people?
no, it was in the
Black-
darkness. It's in the
LeBron
shadow.
James?
It's in the dark side of the moon.
Okay.
That's right. And it was LeBron James growing out of the dark side of the moon. Somehow he was able to breathe in the vacuum of space. I don't know how he was able to do it. Perhaps it was when he traveled there, sucking the air out of basketballs all the way to the moon. I don't know.
Brilliant.
He was able to make his way.
He's got 1,000 basketballs. He's just like,
That's right.
Shot
One
him
at a
over his left
time.
shoulder.
Is
That's
LeBron
LeBron
James
James.
the guy who's got kind of like the big jaw?
Yeah, he's got kind of not quite a Jay Leno jaw, but a pretty good sized one. They grew a big beard on it last time I
Okay,
saw him.
so then he basically looks like one of those brushes at a car wash on his chin.
I suppose.
somebody might say that's racist, man. I don't know who would.
Yeah, the blue people, the blue brush people would say that was racist. That's
The
who would-
Astrojet people.
Exactly. Anyway, and so this demon LeBron grows out of the dark side of the moon, and
Good
then he
Lord.
gets so big, he's larger than the moon. He's just expanding and expanding in space. And his 6-shooter actually is so gigantic that he's able to place the planets within the revolver of that particular 6-shooter. Well, the chambers, and then he sees across the expanse of space on the other side of the sun his nemesis. All right, Greg, it's all yours.
Fuck you. What did you leave me? You left me with a steaming bag of dog shit. Because let me put on my
You got
glasses.
LeBron James / Galactus.
Yeah.
Gonna
Let me
eat
push on my
Earth.
glasses as I say that, according to science, a human cannot be that big without collapsing in himself. He wouldn't have the muscle. Wait, let me keep doing this. Him.
That's
Okay.
not LeBron James.
I'm going to go with this. Okay, so in the mirror Earth, which is on the other side of the sun, which we've never seen because it's hidden by the sun, it's the counter Earth, if you will. There's a LeBron James who's this big. So he's
When you
teams
say
up
this
with
big, what are you talking about? We can't
Oh,
see your
sorry.
fingers.
the, can you see? Sorry.
Oh, I crushed your head.
Ant-Man. He's like Ant-Man.
He's like a couple of inches.
He's like Ant-Man.
Okay.
Because it's counter Earth. Everything's different there. And so he teams up with the little mini LeBron James. And he says, we got to go back to Earth.
Somebody's having a conversation in somebody
Yeah,
else's
sorry.
ears.
They're gone.
They're
Oh my
gone.
God, it was LeBron James just walked outside. That's so weird.
He's making
LeBron
plenty of
James.
conversation by you.
So they go back. He goes to counter Earth. He goes around the sun because he's huge.
Uh-huh.
He just run over there. He can run over the sun. He's gigantic. And he gets mini LeBron, and they go back to Earth. and they say, okay, I'm huge. This vampire, I already forgot what the fucking thing was. The billionaire vampire.
The billionaire vampires.
Who have taken over the government. I could fuck them up. I'm fucking the size of
The
Earth.
government of which planet?
Earth.
Oh, okay.
Our Earth, not counter Earth, not on the other side of the sun.
Mirror.
They come back. And then,
Right.
yeah, Mirror Earth. So, but now we're back on our Earth. And so, LeBron,
Big one?
the big LeBron, but
Oh,
I'm
that's a
sorry,
little one.
I'm bad
There's
at this.
two LeBrons now.
I forget
I'm
little
keeping
things.
track.
I forget things.
Now you
So,
know my problem, Greg.
Before he went to Earth,
Uh-huh.
he grew huge garlic bulbs. They're huge. They're like the size of the Adirondacks. I mean, he's got garlic bulbs the size of fucking a mountain, Mount Everest. And so he takes them back, and he starts throwing the garlic bulbs at the Washington D.C., the White House,
Uh-huh.
where the billionaire vampires are ruling. And the billionaire vampires always just fall like fucking dominoes. They're just like, garlic, But because of that, the Italian billionaires, they have a coup when they take over. Because garlic is all over. And they're like, this is our time. Brandon, go.
But I think this is a perfect time, actually, to take us to the final segment of the show, of course, since we're going to Brendan. And that is...
But I told you there wasn't enough time to do a story.
This is perfect timing. This timing is what this
I
is.
want to know what's going to happen. What's
Oh,
going to happen?
God!
This is The Last Word with Brendan Haggerty.
No talent. Sip.
So he has the last word, Greg. So this is how it ends. It ends
I know.
with Brendan having the last word is what it does.
And the last word on the story? Is that what we're doing?
Whatever you need it to be.
Okay. Well,
You finish this off.
For Greg's sense, let me. So after all of this transpires, with the LeBrons and the giant garlic balls and the Italian takeover because garlic has become so predominant, there's this swirly, weird, shimmery, rainbow-colored haze that sort of enters into all of this. At which point, we return back to Sanchez El Dorado with a ringing fucking headache. And he sits up and he looks at Chancho and he says, "What the fuck did you put in that soup, motherfucker? That was the weirdest dream I have ever had. We can't be doing that shit if we're trying to beat the vampires. Stop."
I got to say, that's a do a machina. This ain't just a dream.
Do a machina? Do a machina?
Duke's ex machina. This ain't just a dream. That's the lamest way to end his stories. No offense.
Fair enough.
He had the last word, though, Greg. So
Oh, yeah, we had to end it. The episode's almost over, so we had no choice.
Yeah. No, it was important that Brendan had the last word.
I
too.
gotta say, though, I was on the edge of my seat when you started talking about rainbow shit. I was like, where is it going? We should do this every episode. From now on, I think we should just be storytellers.
Sure.
Storytellers.
Yeah, that went so well. As we interrupted each other and our whatever we were talking about.
You can interrupt, but you still got to.
We should just make that a different podcast, Greg. I think is the.
I think it was fine up until.
It should just be called Rantings. I think that's what.
It should be called Homer's Odyssey.
Giant LeBron James erupted out of the dark side of the moon with his car wash brush face. That was some classic shit right there.
Dude.
Yeah, these things aren't good for me because my full insanity comes on display, and I don't know.
That's what we want, Matt.
You gotta let it
That's
out.
what makes
I
it
don't know that
good.
that's a good thing at all.
No, it is for round
It
robin.
doesn't
bullshit.
matter anymore. Fuck it. That's what I've
Doesn't
learned.
matter. Well, all of you out there in podcast and YouTube land should know that Brendan will not be with us next week because next week He's actually moving here to Oregon. He's going to be moving in with Greg for a brief period of time, hopefully brief, for Brendan's sake. And then we're going to find a way where we can all be in the same room together and run the podcast. We will make it work somehow.
No, that's not going to happen.
Oh, don't be a little weenie, Greg.
I'm a weenie. You know that. You knew I was a weenie when you met me.
Weenie, wick, wick.
What if we... Well, anyway.
Yeah, is the guy from Buck Rogers? Bitty, 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 winnie, buck.
What was that, Brendan? What were we saying?
What was that, Tweaky?
What was that robot in Buck Rogers? What was his name?
Tweaky?
I don't know. It was Tweaky, but it was something like that.
Yeah.
I hated that.
I know that Sanchez El Dorado probably is the answer, but he's not putting it on
It's Tweaky
on YouTube right now.
Tweaky. That's perfect.
Tweaky.
Yeah, bitty, 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 buck.
I don't think that's
what he always do. He was like a rapper. He was the first rapper. Like bitty, 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 buck, bitty, bitty, buck, bitty, 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 buck, bitty, bitty, buck, bitty, 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 buck. Boom.
I have a feeling that this is going to be the clip that goes in the front of the episode when I edit it. Greg doing his bitty bitty bup thing. However that goes. All right. Well, anyway, this has been the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. We'll be back again next week with a guest who will be an author and name of Dan. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's like Chodorikoff or something along those lines.
And I'm sure that author would love to do a round robin game because he's an author.
Well, we could certainly give him the opportunity, but Brendan's not going to be with us, so it wouldn't be fair to do it without Brendan. So
it'll be fine.
I think it's good that if we ever do this, that we keep the last word on there so that Brendan can end things appropriately.
Oh, so
it was just a dream.
Yeah, it's a dream, and then the bomb blew up, and no one knew, and they're all dead now. Yeah,
and they were all made of oranges.
I'll have to just keep coming up with all that shit. Okay.
And then they all died. That's the one you'll just end up with.
Yeah, and then they all died.
And then they all died.
When my kids...
And they were incapable of being resurrected by any means, fantastic or scientific.
It's so funny. My oldest kids, when they were in whatever, must have been fourth, fifth grade, sixth grade, they had these creative writing assignments. They would write all these stories, and they would keep writing these stories, and they had like X amount of words they had to do. They would never finish the story. It would just be da 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 da, and then at the last line, when they got to their word count that was required, it would just say "to be continued." And so I thought, my kids are such lazy fucks. God damn it! Can't you just think it through and then at a certain point go, okay, now I have to end the story. No. What I did was I ended up helping them, the school, put together the creative writing journal book.
Uh-huh.
Almost every single kid in that book had the "to be continued" on it. It was like either one kid told the other kids, "This is how you do it," or they all just sporadically just came up with "kick the can" everywhere in the world on their own. I don't know, but
everything is multiple episodes.
Everything was "to be continued."
And then that for me in a comic book reader is that they forgot how to just tell a nice little short story. It's like everything just keeps going. So it's like you never have to end it. And that's the hardest part of a story.
Well, we're going to end it right now. This is the end of this episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. So I'm going to say goodbye to Wafales on TikTok. Thank you, man. He sent us 2,000 likes himself. We've got actually a total of 3,000. He even said he's going to subscribe to our YouTube account. So anyway, thank you very much, man. I'm going to turn off the live on TikTok right now.
That's like voting
for
a
president.
Two
people watching.
You can't give 2,000 likes yourself, can you?
We had actually a total of 71 viewers today on TikTok and 3,000.
Your consultation with the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!